Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a video, and today we're going to be testing out these Gemfan 5152 Flash, the dual blade edition. And now if you look at the blade right away, you can probably tell that the airfoil and blade shape is exactly the same as the tri-blade edition, so there is no differences besides, there's only 2 blades instead of 3. Also, just like the tri-blade, these come in the same colors. You got the clear, there's also a black, and the pink and blue. I'm not sure if they're going to be bringing out the Ferrari red or the whiskey orange that they have now in the tri-blade, but more should be coming soon. And now these are a PC prop, same exact material as the tri-blade. I found it to be very durable, however they do tend to bend at the hub, and then you can't really get them back into balance that well. So the durability isn't stellar, but it still is very good. It'll definitely survive branch strikes, or if you go through a couple leaves or something in a tree, so they should be okay for that. The prop weight, if we get this scale here, and if I move it, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but let's just weigh the clear edition. It is 3.59, wow, my battery's still plugged in. 3.6 grams, something like that there. So it's a very light, actually pretty light dual bladed prop. I believe this Dow 3 V3 was like 3.9 grams, so it's even lighter than that. So it should be very easy for the motor to spin up, a light responsive prop. However, it is the 51, so it is an extra 1/10 of an inch longer there, so it is a little bit bigger than a normal 5-inch prop, so you might have trouble fitting it on some frames, but here on the floss you still have plenty of clearance, like what, maybe 5 millimeters, that's plenty there. So you just have to be aware of that. And it is the 52 pitch, if that's even real, or if that's the advanced ratio, I'm not sure. But I definitely wouldn't recommend this for 2204 motors. I'd probably say, just from my track record with the tri-blade, you really need like a 2206, 2400, 2500 kV motor to properly spin it. So this guy, I'd probably guess you need at least like a 2205, probably a 25 2600 kV motor. And these are the Hyperlight 2205, 2522 kV motors, if that you can see that there. So this should be a good fit for it, and this is on my floss, which is pretty light. It gets a 260 gram dry build. Because in general, for dual blades, they're really more meant for racing and top speed, because you're going to be losing a little bit of control, and they're not good for carrying weight. So if you're looking for a heavy freestyle quad to carry a GoPro, I definitely don't think these are going to be the best option. So let's just get right into some testing. I've flown these for about 3 days so far, so let's do a line of sight and then some FPV. Here we are with the Gemfan 5152 dual blade for some line of sight here. Got a 1300 R line on there. Just let it get ready, and now we can hand launch it here. The grass is a little long. This will give you an idea of how it sounds. So hopefully you can hear that. It's a little bit loud, but it's definitely not the loudest dual blade that I tested. The V3 Cyclone was louder than this guy, but it definitely does have the unique 2-blade sound to it, lower pitch. So there's the throttle punch on it. Not the best, but definitely respectable for a 2-blade. Let's see some full speed passes. Wow. Just like the tri-blade, this is really a high speed prop, this airfoil. I'm at like 89 degrees pitch there. Oh man, it's powerful. Definitely got some good hang time to it. It just, in line of sight, it feels pretty much like a tri-blade. It's just really, once you get to FPV, you feel a loss of control. Man, the pink and blue, just like the tri-blade, they really stand out. Really good colors on this guy. Definitely don't like how loud it is though. Like dual blades, I just, you know, whenever I hear the echoes of my quad sound, I'm, you know, not that happy because I know a lot of people don't like quads, so annoying them as little as possible is the best route. But just like other dual blades, this just cruises at a high speed without much extra, what am I? I'm at like 40% throttle. It just cruises at a really high speed because there's so little load on the prop or the motor. It can just achieve the RPMs, the higher RPMs really easily. So it just equates to more top end speed. Like some people, this might be their full throttle and I'm at half throttle here, so very high speed prop. Yeah, it seems like my motor actually almost might be topping out because I'm not getting that much extra speed off of full throttle versus 70% throttle. So 2500 kV on these, since they're a little bit larger, a 51 prop, 25 might be a good range for these guys. And maybe a 2206 motor, but probably not. 2205 can handle it pretty well. So good enough line of sight, just real quick. Oh, dropped it. Alright, so let's move to some FPV and then we'll recap. Alright, here we are for the FPV of the Gemfan 5152 bi-blade. So I have my my race rates on, or not my race rates, my freestyle rates on here. Not my race rates, so I can't really do too much race type flying. But hopefully you can just see here, there's very little prop wash at all, even going straight back into my own wash. Very little gets affected into the quad. You wouldn't even really be able to notice that. You might be able to on the GoPro though. But two blades has less prop wash because there's less prop disc area, so there's less disturbed air the props are getting, since there's only 2 instead of 3 or 4. And this is the same tune as my tri-blade setup, so I didn't change the tune. But let's just do a full speed pass this way here. There we go. As you can see, very fast. I'm not sure which way is the wind. But you can see I'm having some top end oscillations, but I could probably just tune that out or increase some TPA. Ooh. Let's just really get up and go quick. About 45 degrees camera tilt. Just feel less confident in the air with them than a tri-blade. There's just less grip. Like less control, you don't really know. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Come on, dang it. Alright, so the FPV flight didn't last quite as long as I was hoping, but you know, you get the idea. I think that was just enough flight footage to keep this a little bit shorter too. And on that crash, did the same exact props. No damage at all. They are very durable. The tri-blade of these, they're pretty durable. The PC material themselves is very good. However, they do tend to bend at the hub. However, with a two-blade prop, you know, it's going to bend, like you see it just moves out of the way, and then the arm can take the hit. So there's less for you to damage with a two-blade prop. So these are more durable than the tris, but I wouldn't say that they're on the level of the dowel props in terms of durability. These things are just bulletproof. But one disadvantage of a two-blade obviously is if, you know, you damage one blade severely in flight, it's going to be super off balance and you probably won't be able to make it home. Whereas with a tri-blade, you're going to have terrible vibrations, but you should be able to get back to you. Now, flying an FPV with the GoPro on, adding the extra, what is it, like 100 grams with the mount and the GoPro, I definitely did feel a huge dip in performance. So I would say definitely if your weight isn't low enough, I wouldn't go to a dual blade. It needs to be a pretty lightweight quad with a decently high kV to really get the most performance out of these, because if you have a heavier low kV quad, I wouldn't consider a dual blade at all. And especially, I'd probably say these are mostly for racing. Compared to the Dal V3, which I just recently reviewed, these seem to have more pop and more punch in them, but the Gemfan seem to have a lot, well not a lot, but they seem to have a little bit less punch, but a higher top end speed, which is pretty much the same thing I got comparing the tri-blade versions of both of these. So that's pretty consistent there. But yeah, overall they definitely are a very good prop, and if you are in the market looking for a 2-blade version, I think these are probably really the only two that you want to look at right now. There's probably more coming soon, but these two are definitely the best dual blade props I've ever tested, and I don't really think there's that many out, so you know, maybe order a set of each and see what you like. Thanks once again to Prop City for sending these out to review. I believe these are only about, I believe they're a little bit more expensive than the Dells, about $3 to $4 a set, which is similar to the Tri-Blade of the Gemfan. You know, they just cost a little bit more, but they do come in the pink, the blue, the clear, and the black, so there's various different colors, and I haven't seen any problems with air bubbles in the hubs of some other props, so you know, I don't think you're going to be breaking them right at the hub. So that's been the video. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.